The worst kind of suffering is the kind that goes unnoticed. Suffering in silence isn't just when no one knows what one is going through. It's when others know, but they don't acknowledge it. It's when whatever one is going through isn't a secret, but it feels like one. It's lonely. And it's what childhood cancer patients are going through. Now, you might be wondering, why am I speaking about childhood cancer today? After all, I'm not a childhood cancer patient, I'm not a childhood cancer survivor, but I am someone who is incredibly passionate about the subject. In fact, one day I hope to maybe even, one of my many career options is to even contribute to childhood cancer research. So let me talk to you today about this subject and the sheer devastation about it. Starting by talking about a type of cancer called melanoma. Now, melanoma isn't a childhood cancer, but I'll get on that in a few minutes. Melanoma is an aggressive skin cancer. And according to the CancerNet UK, melanoma stage 1 has a 98.4 survival rate. Melanoma stage 2, also known as anywhere from intermediate to high risk, depending on how far the cancer is spread in the body, it has anywhere from a 45 to a 79% chance of survival. And then melanoma stage 4 has a 20% 5-year survival rate. Compared to many cancers, especially childhood cancer, this is quite high. Why? Well, there are a few reasons. One, melanoma is actually quite common. According to the American Cancer Society, there are 100,000 cases of melanoma each year. And therefore, more treatments and more funding and more research needs to be done to support the population. But also, the average age of diagnosis for melanoma is 66 years old, which means that it goes under the government spending category of adult cancer research, to which most of the NCI, or National Cancer Institute's budget goes to each year. So this gives adult cancer, like melanoma, more of a fighting chance. A great example of funding and how much it affects survival rates is neuroblastoma. Neuroblastoma is a cancer found in the adrenal glands, and it can be developed in the belly, the pelvis, the neck, and the chest. And according to the CancerNet, neuroblastoma has a low-risk neuroblastoma has a 90% survival rate. Intermediate risk has anywhere from a 70 to an 85% chance. And then high risk has a 50% chance of survival. Now, also, the special thing about high risk is that about 60% of patients relapse, meaning that after they have beaten the cancer, it comes back. And once it comes back, the survival rate drops down to about 5%. And the worst part is 50% of neuroblastoma patients are diagnosed with high-risk neuroblastoma. So why is neuroblastoma seemingly more aggressive than melanoma and other adult cancers? Well, there are a few reasons. One, neuroblastoma is actually quite uncommon. Only 600 to 1,000 cases per year. This means that there's less of an urge for funding and research on it. But also, neuroblastoma is mostly found in children, in infants. And according to the Little Warrior Foundation, the NCI spends about 4% of their yearly budget on childhood cancer. And that equals to about $250 million per year. This seems like a lot, but let's think about it. There are many different types of childhood cancer, from leukemia to neuroblastoma to astrocytoma. Okay, all of these cancers need their individual research, individual treatment develops, individual clinical trials. And when you have to split $250 million between all of these, it isn't enough. And this is why that there is often a lower survival rate for childhood cancer. So why is there less funding? Well, the other day, I was watching a video of a mom talking about her daughter's childhood cancer journey. And this mom was talking about how unfair it is that childhood cancer only gets 4%. Well, one of the comments was saying, well, there's a reason why. It's pretty rare. And this is unfortunately what a majority of the population assumes, when in fact, it isn't as rare as everyone thinks. According to the American Cancer Foundation, in the US alone, there is 15,780 cases of childhood cancer each year. And then globally, 300,000 per year. Every 3 minutes, a family hears the devastating words that their kid is the one that has cancer. It isn't as rare as people assume. Now, each cancer, like I stated, normally have only 1,000 cases per year. But when you add all that up, the total of how many total childhood cancer patients there are isn't as rare as everyone thinks. And it isn't as small of a number as everyone presumes. Which is why we have to raise awareness to change that presumption. But I don't think raising awareness will do anything. There's already enough. I have to disagree. I don't fear it's enough. Like I was stating earlier, that comment sums up what a portion of the population assumes about childhood cancer, that it's rare, when in fact it isn't. Which is why we need awareness to change that presumption. But what will raising awareness do for cancer funding, for increasing it? Well, it will help get the government's attention. If more people realize that childhood cancer isn't as rare as they think, there will be more of an urge to reach out to government officials to raise the funding. And with this urge, it's more likely for them to raise the funding, because government funding is the major long-term solution for fixing this funding problem. Individual donations, like say you donate $5, that will run out. Eventually, they will spend that $5 and then they'll be back to where they started. But if the government gives them more of a budget to plan their yearly stuff with, then it will be easier for them to develop research, treatments, and trials. Overall, they just need a higher budget. And that's why we have to raise awareness. So how can we raise awareness? Onco, a cancer treatment center in India, has several ways of how to raise awareness. And here are a few that I think are the most effective. One, just spreading information about childhood cancer through social media, public speaking engagements, anything. This is a great way to reach a wide variety of people. And then, of course, throughout the year, there are different dates dedicated to different types of cancer, like Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Childhood Cancer Awareness Day. Choose any of these events, and then support it. Like wear a pink shirt for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Post for something on Instagram for Childhood Cancer Awareness Day. Another great way to reach a wide variety of people. And then, of course, raise funding. Host a fundraiser for any type of cancer or for any specific foundation that you wish. And this is a great way to help not only raise money, but also spread information and spread awareness. So with this, let's let these kids know that they aren't alone, that they aren't suffering in silence as they think. Let's let them know that not only do we see their suffering, we're doing our best to end it. Thank you.